This was a story told to me by an old lady years ago. When I was 15 years old, I had my first daughter. Yeah, I know, too young to have a kid, but it was an accident. Well, my daughter was growing up to be not very pretty looking. As she got older, she had a lot of health problems, and she was just frankly an ugly child. She got picked on in school. Her father completely forgot about us. My parents wanted nothing to do with her, and everyone just seemed to be totally disgusted by her. Even with everyone seemingly distraught by her, I still loved her. She was my daughter after all. My daughter did not have any friends, and nobody wanted to talk to her, kids or teachers. I felt so bad for her. She wouldn't eat, she would sleep all day, and she wouldn't even talk to me. On her 10th birthday, I made her day the best day she ever had. She was smiling for the first time since she was a baby. After a long day of shopping, going to her favorite restaurant and getting ice cream, we went for a walk down by the river not far from our house. This river always had strong currents. It ran into a large open lake that was known to have bull sharks, and unless you were an experienced swimmer, you had no business swimming in it. We walked down beside the river just talking and watching the sunset. We reached a point to where we couldn't go any further, and I stopped to look at her. I looked down at her with a tear in my eye, and I told her I loved her. Before she could say anything, I pushed her in the river, and she was immediately pulled under by a strong current. I called the police and told them she slipped away into the water, and before I could react, she was already gone. I was never suspected of anything, and her body was never found. After a few years of moving to a new city, across the country, and completely forgetting about my past life, I met my current husband. He was a lawyer and he even helped me to go through school to be a paralegal, and we had a daughter of our own. My husband knew about my deceased daughter, but of course I didn't tell him I pushed her in. I had told him the same story I told the police, that she slipped into the river, and even then, we never spoke of it to anyone, and our daughter was too young to understand, so we never told her. One day, when my new, beautiful, and flawless daughter was around 4 years old, and my husband was working late, I tucked her into bed, and after I said, "I love you, princess," she grabbed my hand and said, "I love you too, mommy, but please don't push me in the river again."